Welcome to the Live Sports of New Mexico show. My name is Chris. I'm here with my co-host Brian, and I'm back after a big season we had. It seems like basketball season could be a long time. It was March Madness for me, and at Legacy had a few teams we were running, and we ended with the championship, and that was really great for us to. After after the whole season, after what we kind of went through, a little bit more adversity this year, but sitting back here as a back-to-back champion,
well,
it's got to
congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
So, if you would tell us a little bit about the season, maybe for those that are unfamiliar, catch us up. How'd it go? What were some highs and lows, and what's your take on the season and your teams this year?
Well, this year it was. We lost a lot of key players, either to graduation or they moved on to different schools. So a lot of kids had to step up this year, and I knew it was going to happen. I knew, especially in the summer, working with some kids and telling them, hey, you're going to have to step up into a bigger role. I think that was the funnest part, really, to see some of these kids that maybe didn't get as much playing time last year. They really improved and they got better, and they did really well being in their role. And so I'd always tell these guys, we talked about on the show all the time, is being a superstar in your role, and that's what these kids did. And we were a lot younger. I had to bring some younger guys up. The league is really 7th through 8th grade, but I had to bring some 6th and 5th graders to help us out, and they did a really, really good job. Not having the moment be too big for them, and some 5th graders stepped up and helped us out. So we started off pretty strong, and then we played a tough team up in Berlin. A few things going. It was a time where the flu season was really hitting us pretty hard, so some of our guys were out, and so we ended up losing that game pretty badly. And then after that, we played them a few weeks later. That was really marked on our schedule because we really want to get them back. It was our homecoming game, and then we ended up beating them pretty bad as well. And then push come to shove, as we go through the season. We end up seeing each other in the championship. We won one, they won one, and it was really tough first half for us. Blow for blow, both teams were scoring. We were playing solid defense the whole game, I thought, and they were making some tough shots. And the second half, those tough shots weren't going in for them, and we just kept being persistent. We ended up winning that game by 12 and won the championship. I think this year it's a little bit more sweeter for me because I've worked with these kids for 2 years now, and just for seeing from year 1 to year 2, the improvement and the growth has been the best part.
And now, who are some of your key players this season?
One kid that really had to step up was Miguel Zarate. He has some family issues going on, and and he had some injuries too. So he had a lot going on this year, and really good player. I think his thing to get away from all that is the basketball court, because he stays in the gym. He really works on his game. He was our point guard, and he had to really lead our team. He worked through some mistakes. I think I get on him more than anybody, but he knows that because he's the point guard. Usually the point guards get the most, scrutiny and stuff like that. And then we had one of our older 8th graders, Raymond Tavares. He was one that really has developed his skill level, and he's strong. He's been solid for us. Last year I didn't really take him out. I put him in because he was solid for us. He ran the plays well. He did what he's supposed to do. But this year he stepped into a bigger role and more scoring role because some of our scoring from last year went away. So
Gotcha.
He did his part, and so guys really stepped up.
Nice. Well, again, congratulations on a great year. And, also we got an exciting year in college. Exciting tournament happening right now. What's your take on all of that, March Madness, and where we're at with the Final Four?
Man, right. And I think it's been kind of brewing for the last few years now, is that a lot of the middle of the pack teams are the ones kind of really, pushing themselves because they have a little bit more of a chip on their shoulder. It's like it's the perfect balance of, they're not they're not the powerhouse teams, but they're not also the mid-major teams. They're kind of the teams that are like in the middle of those power conferences. You take like Nevada and Kansas State and all those teams that were like in the 7-10 seed this year. They're the ones that really had the chip on their shoulders. So I think those are the teams that you really have to look out for, because even if you're a 1 seed, you're playing an 8 or 9 seed the second round, and so you might not even be able to get to the Sweet 16. So a lot of a lot of crazy things with those top seeds, and I think seeding messes with your mind more than anything.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think because if you're like, even 6-11 is almost not much of an upset anymore. I don't think 7-10 is, and that could go either way still. Even 6-11 is starting to get there, and that's where Loyola Chicago ended up. But still, just seeing that seed, when you're 11 or lower, or above, 12, 13. You're kind of just playing, just like, hey, we're just glad to be here, and we're gonna give our best shot. And, and so I think a lot of these teams at that level, even the 16 seed, UMBC, they just play loose and they don't feel any pressure. But when you're a 1 or 2 seed, you kind of feel the pressure. Hey, it's either Final Four or it's a disappointment. Yeah. So that's what I think is really could take a psychological toll, mental toll on some of these teams.
Right, absolutely. And so now with the Final Four, what's your prediction on each game, and then who you got in the winning it all?
Well, I had Villanova going all the way from the beginning. I just think they have a good mix of, young guys, good coaches, and also some senior leadership. And I think Jalen Brunson has been outstanding. And then it's got to be tough on the other side. I think I'm just going to keep riding with Loyola because they're riding a wave and they're fired up, and we're going to get more into it. But the teamwork part of it is really been eye-opening, and seeing what they can do as they come together. So it might be a Loyola Villanova, and then eventually I'm going to take Villanova. I think they're kind of like, they are similar to Loyola, just a little bit more talented. They're a good team, and that's what you want. That's what I always look for when I'm picking brackets. Who has a solid team? Not usually the best players, but what has the best all-around team. So I think it's going to be Villanova.
Gotcha. And it's always great to see that Cinderella story unfold and see them go so far. So exciting with all this happening. Really glad you're here with us today. As Chris said, we're going to get into why Loyola has been so successful and how you can be successful, and talk about teamwork and working together and those types of things. So you're not going to want to miss our show today. Again, we're so glad that you're here with us, and we want to give 2 very special shout outs. Number 1, to our producer Josh, who he works so hard and is always making the magic happen behind the scenes. He's in the back right now, making it happen. So we love you, Josh. We appreciate all you do. Yes. And then special thanks, of course, to Legacy Church for them and their sponsorship of the show. And we know it's Easter right around the corner, so if you need a place to go for Easter, we'd love to invite you to Legacy Church. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you back in just a little bit.
And flags are going to fly here. And wide open, making the catch and standing the end zone is Dello Davis. Well, what's going to be the call? Is this going to be a touchdown? And it's returnable. Edwards makes a move and another move to the outside. Uh-oh, look out. He puts on the Jets in a 50-yard.
The first base side. Oh, what a play turned in by Jackson. Great play by Jackson.
Dello Davis are in motion. Dello Davis going to get the carry out of motion, and look out, here comes Dello Davis. He's through. Davis all the way.
Got a little bit of breeze out towards right field. That's hitting the gap to right center field. Right fielder coming on. What a great catch turned in by Schober.
There's Wichita, the kick. Here's Bray, a little stutter, look out. Antonio Bray's got to move to the outside, and it's all wheels from there. He's going to take it.
Runner's going to go.
Here he's going. Watch out at home.
The play as the play. Throws in time. Got it.
Them the day that Parker's pitching.
That's lifted back this way. The catcher Rendon coming back and
what
makes
a
catch. Great catch by Rendon. Up the middle. They're waving him around. It gets by. Here comes a winning run. Connor Langwell scores a winning run off the bat of Garrett Langwell. Clovis is going to win it 3-2. RBI single for Garrett Langwell, Tom.
Right next to him. Bray gets the carry. What a spin move. And look out. He puts on the Jets. Antonio Bray. One for the highlights.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, hashtag life change will occur.
Welcome back to the Live Sports in New Mexico show. We kind of just talked about, the season going on at Legacy. March Madness is happening, and a particular team that a lot of people are talking about is Loyola Chicago. They're doing a lot of good things. And you always wonder, how do these teams get here? It seems like these teams have a tough time making it to the tournament. I think this is the fourth time in history that 11 seed has gotten to that point, and we always wonder, what happened, what could have happened. When I observe as a basketball coach and player, I really think it is teamwork. These guys, you can see it in the locker room, you can see when they're talking. They really don't care who's getting the glory, who's shining. It's all about representing their school, and I think that's so important wherever we go. Wherever we're at, we always have to understand we're representing something, whether it's at our job or at our school, we're representing where we're at. And I think, for both of us working at Legacy, that's our, we're representing the church, representing the school, and we're making sure that it's all working together, to have a successful church and school. There's every piece that needs to work together. We're not always really searching for the glory of it. We just want to make Legacy really special. So I think that's what the same thing Loyola's doing it. There's been a few game-winning shots they had, and it's been a different player each time. And they're just like, we don't care, just as long as we win, as long as Loyola wins.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really cool watching that, seeing all those humble kids come together and just, they're at the Final Four now. It works.
I know, absolutely. And you see how successful they've been when, they're relying on one another. They're not playing selfish basketball, and they really are using great teamwork. And I think, man, it's just a great lesson for all of us. But I know sometimes that we want the credit, right? No, I want the credit. I want the glory. Show me on TV, put my name in the newspaper. So maybe you could talk a little bit about like how do we get to a place where the credit, or the personal credit isn't as important as like the goal, the team goal. I heard it said like this before, in the NFL, that the question was asked, would you rather go to the Hall of Fame or would you rather win a Super Bowl? So one, it's all about the individual, the individual performance. The other, it's all about the team. And I think most people, without a doubt, say, oh, Super Bowl. Super Bowl. So, how do you get to that place where you're willing to be more about the team than you are yourself?
Well, you see it even with athletes after they retire. Some end up with championship rings and some don't, but then they're still in the Hall of Fame. But it's they're always judged on that. They're always judged, well, you didn't win any rings. Yeah, you see Shaq and Charles, go at it on NBA on TNT, and they're always, and Shaq's like, well, I got 4 rings and you don't have any. So I think at the end of it, like when some of these athletes that have finished their career, they'll tell you, I'd rather win a championship. You know, during their time, like, no, I want the glory, I want all this, but I just think it's so much more rewarding, you know, when you get together, because you help each other out. Even in life, we don't do it on our own.
Yeah. And
so I think it's really important that, you know, we don't get caught up in that, because there's nothing, you know, some of us have really good parents that have, you know, been good role models or good coaches, good pastors, wherever it's at. We always have some type of influence that helps us be successful. So we can't get into that mindset of thinking, oh, well, it's all about me. It's all, you know, I get all the credit. So I think it's when you get to that point where it's, you know, you're thinking, you know what, people do help me out. It's just great. That's how God made it work. You know, He made it work to where we could learn things from different people. God speaks through different people. We learn from other people's mistakes, and that helps us. So when we get to that mindset, we think, you know what, I do get so much help from everybody else, so why take that credit? You know, obviously we have a choice to follow it or not, to follow the right things or not. So we get credit in that aspect. But ultimately, it's really about, you know, representing where you're at. Where I believe, you know, I was working at Volcano Vista, and I believe I got to represent Volcano Vista the best way possible. Playing at UNM, represent UNM the best way possible. Now representing Legacy the best way possible, because I just want to make that look good, because it's bigger than myself. You know, Legacy just does so many great things, and I'm just happy to be a part of it. And happy to help, you know, the school and the church as I'm there and enjoying the ride.
Right, and there's really something to be said about being a part of something that's bigger than yourself. Like that's the kind of stuff that gives you real purpose in life. Right. Is when you're not all about yourself, but you're a part of something that's bigger than yourself. And then when you do that, when you are a part of that, man, that's when that teamwork comes into play. That's when you really learn leadership and working with people, and you begin to grow as a person. And I heard this once, and I thought it was really good. But they say that the greatest leaders are the ones that are willing to give the most credit away. Like, who cares if you get the credit, as long as the job gets done. Right. Maybe make someone else feel good. Make someone else feel like they accomplished something. You know that you got done what you wanted to get done. You won the championship, right? Or you closed the deal, or you made the winning shot. But why not give the guy who gave you the assist? Why not give him the credit? Man, if he didn't pass me that ball, it wouldn't have happened. Right. You know, why not? And then, you know, ultimately that the reason why we are here, the reason why we have the gifts and talents we have, I mean, it's because of God. So at the end of the day, really, all the credit should go to God. Right. He should get the glory. So it's not about us. Right. And when life is about us, I think our world is small, it's frustrating, but when it becomes bigger, when it becomes about others and teamwork, man, there's just no stopping us. There's no telling how great our lives can be. And so I'm excited to get more into this when we come back, but if you want to close. Yeah, and also I think just in a coach's aspect, it's funny, like when your team starts losing, you blame the coach, but when the teams start winning, then it's like, oh, well, the players are winning. So the coaches could get, I understand with coaches, they could get in that aspect, but for me personally, if we're winning, I'm okay with that. So I don't really care to get the credit, but no, it's been fun. It's been fun coaching. It's been fun seeing how that teamwork gets together, because as a player, you're really kind of just a part of it. You just do your role. But now as a coach, I got to put players in the right position. I got to, you know, manage subs and do different things to where, like, okay, how am I going to put this whole thing together to where ultimately they're going to win? So it's been fun, and I enjoy it. I enjoy the part of the game where you got to make the adjustments and stuff like that. All right, so coming up, we're going to continue to talk a little bit more about teamwork and, you know, get a little bit more local. We're going to kind of talk about Atrisco making it all the way to the championship for the 6A basketball NMH state championship. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that and see how they got to where they got. So if you want, stick around. We got a lot more to talk about.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, hashtag life change will occur.
Welcome back to the Live Sports in New Mexico show. We're talking about teamwork today, talking about how we understand that there's some things that we do want to take credit for, but ultimately God should get the credit because we know that when everything works out good, it's because of Him, and we focus on Him. And so we want to get a little bit more into it. Like I said, locally. With the Trisco Heritage, winning the championship, and I remember Jordan and DeMarcus coming on this show earlier in the year, and they called it. They said they were hungry because they missed out on it last year, lost to the Volcano Vista team that eventually won it, and they talked about what they were doing and stuff like that. And it's amazing to me that championships are really won in the off season. And I think that's what I learned from them, is that they work so hard. I've seen them work hard. They even came to our gym sometimes and worked out. It was really cool to see that. And I remember working out myself as a player, that just when you're doing weights or whatever, and that you want to give up, you put in that extra rep because, hey, this is how I'm going to get that edge. And I think that's what these guys did. They really came together. They said in the beginning, like, this is our mission. It's either a championship or it's a failed season. So it was really, really cool to see those guys get there.
Absolutely. Excited for them, proud of those guys. Great group of student athletes there, and I think they had some great team chemistry. And I remember talking to them, and they were all about the team and doing things together and just building that camaraderie. I remember seeing a group of them at church oftentimes. So they were just building that team, building that community, and then it showed. It showed in their play, it showed in their success. And obviously had a great year. I think only lost one game, maybe two games all season.
Very rare.
and then, took home the state title. So proud of those guys. Congratulations to the fellas if you're watching. And I know that in your lives you got even greater things ahead.
Yeah, but I think they probably want to come back. Jordan and DeMarcus kind of say, hey, we called it and stuff. But I think, you brought up a good point about that community thing with teams. I think what really helps with team chemistry is what they do off the court. Maybe one is, and, Trisco does this, and some of their guys, they do go to church. They go to church together. I think that's just so important because then you talk about it, then you get closer, then you kind of figure out how people are, and you get to know them better, and like, oh man, you're dealing with this, well let me help you out. And so you really create this brotherhood, like even if it doesn't have to be church, it could be going to movies together or going to dinner. I think that's so important because that you play harder for the guy next to you when you know more about them. And even working out together, I always made sure I was working out with my teammates and say, hey, let's go run hills together. And then you get in the middle of a game and say, hey, we didn't run those hills for nothing. Let's finish out. We're stronger, we're more endurance. Yep. We got this. And so it really brings to light of your hard work and what you do. And I think that's what coaches and players should understand, is you really got to build that. I know it's kind of extra work or whatever, it's outside of practice, but have a dinner or go to someone's house or go to a movie. Say, hey, let's go to church together. Let's meet up. Let's meet in the classroom today and just let's just talk about a certain topic and outside of basketball. Talking about just life skill stuff, leadership, accountability. All those things you really need to be a successful student athlete. And I think that's what if you bring Jordan and DeMarcus on, they'll talk about them being the leaders of that team. They'll talk about, yeah, that's what we did. We made sure we were together. We made sure that we held each other accountable because we didn't want anyone slacking off, because they knew with the guys they had, they knew they could do it. They knew it was right there, it was within reach. But just with anything, you still got to put in the work. You could be ranked preseason #1. You could be predicted to win the championship, but you still have to do the work. And so I think that's what they really took to heart.
And, definitely got to give credit and honor to where honor is due, but their coach, the coach at Trisco, I believe Coach Ortiz.
Yeah, Ortega.
Yeah. Coach Ortega. Yeah. I know he's a tough guy. He's a tough coach.
Yes.
I remember one time, a group of us were at the school for lunch, hanging out with the students, hanging out with some of the players, and one of our guys said, hey, let me give you a tour of the school. So I was going around, and I don't know if I wasn't supposed to be or what, but I ended up down there in the locker room with the guys. I was hanging out with the players, DeMarcus and Jordan, just saying what's up and just encouraging them. And then the coach came in, and he was mad. You can't be in here, and got us kind of kicked out of the school. I'm like, oh my gosh. So like, this guy's tough. This guy's serious. He's all business. And it just shows. It shows he's serious about taking care of business. He's serious about winning games, and it shows because they won games. They did well. They had success. So, Coach, congratulations to you. Excited for you and your team. So there's my fun Trisco story for you. I'm not welcome back.
I'm sure if he knew what you were doing and stuff, he would, oh, okay, he's in here for a good reason. But it's funny because even as a player, like, man, you definitely say, you dislike your coach at certain times. When they get on you, when they're, where they're expecting a little bit more from you, they're yelling at you and stuff like that. And you're like, it's not that big of a deal. But now, as I step in the coaching realm, I can see why those little details matter so much. Of being on time, having your shirt tucked in, make sure you're getting good grades. All these certain things, even for us, we had a haircut rule. We couldn't have our hair too long or too wild. Even with like the extremity stuff, like the sleeves and stuff. It was more of because it comes back to this teamwork thing. It's like, no, you're part of a team. You're not out here trying to show out and. It's not, you're not trying to make a fashion statement or anything like that. And so I think that's what, when players step back after, especially winning a championship, it's like, man, I'm glad my coach did get on me, because if he didn't push me, as hard, or my teammates didn't push me as hard, we wouldn't gotten there. And so I think at the end of the season too, if you don't win, it's like, I should have pushed harder.
Yeah.
I think we've all probably gotten there. I mean, when I was at UNM and we lost in the first round of the tournament, it's like, man, if we just would have pushed a little harder, we could have done it. Even with my personal stuff, like we went to run a Spartan race last summer, and I was nervous about it. I was thinking like, I don't know if I can make it, whatever. I finished, and I'm like, man, I could have gone so much harder. I tried to pace myself. It was a 13-mile race. Tried to pace myself. I was like, man, because I prepared for it. I make sure I ate right, everything like that. Man, I could have gave it a little bit more. And so I think we all could learn a lesson from that too. The teams that didn't make it or just that close, it's like, hey, just push hard next year. And that's what Trisco did. They came up one game short. They said in the summer, no, we're working hard. We're not, no shortcuts or nothing like that. And look where they ended up.
Yeah, absolutely. And then to kind of wrap up our show today, I think the greatest example is that of Jesus and his disciples. Jesus didn't go change the world all by himself. He developed a team. He had a team of guys, a team of disciples, and they went out and spread the word and spread the message and changed the world. They really did. And I think that's the cool thing. God, for every single one of us, has a purpose, has a plan, but we're not going to be able to do it on our own.
Right.
We're going to have a team together to go out and change the world. And we just know that when you're with your team, when you got your people, the right people in your life, you're going to go make a difference in this world. So thanks so much for joining us today. We love you guys, and appreciate you always watching the show, and it's been a blast being a part of this. So come back, join Chris and the team next time.
We'll see you.